So, without further ado, let us talk about the top 10 tips for managing a remote workforce. So, with these tips, we think that you might find working from home to be an extremely positive change. And I read a statistic that says that 65% of people actually prefer working at home. So, so this is almost an opportunity, right? So Denise, you want to take it away?
All right. So we are going to do our countdown starting from number 10 and just sharing with you some of the ideas that we have found and gathered together. So the first one is just to be honest and fair. This will potentially be a challenge for you to decide who is it that's going to work and who is it that's not going to work. And so also along those lines is just knowing that it's not going to be possible for all of your employees. Certainly those of you that have staff that are, placed in a retail operation or, face-to-face meetings or whatever your business activity is. So it's not really going to affect all your employees or not be a solution for them. But if you look at your business, what your business operations are and just think about what your essential needs are and how you can accomplish that work remotely. So maybe all of your employees are laid off, maybe just some of them are laid off. But those that are able to work, think about spreading the hours out. If you have a number of people that are doing essentially the same kind of job, spread it, and if they can't work full time, spread the hours out so that maybe they're working just a few hours less a week, as opposed to not working at all. Spread the wealth, so to speak. And then for some of you, you might have to do furloughs and layoffs, and as difficult as that is, it might be the only option you have. And we've had that in our own office as well, but certainly people are understanding it, but whatever the assignments are that you are giving to folks, just make sure that it's consistent and fair across the board. So the next one is to have technology in place. Many people have already started to do this, but there's a number of different things that are out there, many of which that you already know about. So we're going to just touch on a couple of those. So make sure that they have access to whatever the systems are that allow them to work efficiently. There's a lot of tools out there. The first one I think we're going to talk about is Zoom. Laura's operating the PowerPoint from her end. So Zoom for video conferencing. Zoom is what we have used for a number of time. Numbers of other companies are using this, and I should say that there are other opportunities too. Zoom isn't the only one for video conferencing. One of them is GoToMeeting.com is another one. Zoom, I think, is at least in our world, it's the most popular. It gives you an opportunity to, like we are here, you can see us, or that you could not see us. We can share the screens, but it really helps to have that interaction with people, especially so important in this time of being socially isolated. And another thing that we've encouraged folks to do, especially when you're talking to your own team, is, if you have a camera, some people don't have cameras, but if you have a camera, go ahead and allow yourself to be seen to your team, because it's that face-to-face, contact that you can, and interaction that you can have with people. Slack is another tool. Quite honestly, we've not used that yet, but it's one of the things that you can do to have group chats. Kind of like consider a texting, but it's online. So that might be another option for you to stay in touch with your people. Google Drive or OneDrive. Laura and I are very thankful that when we relocated to our office about a year ago, at that point, we put all of our information online. So all of our files we store on OneDrive. Google Drive is another one that's very popular, but whatever documents or information that your folks need, look at these solutions so that you can make them available to them to access from wherever it is that they might be working. So, and maybe there's some other ideas too. We're all learning this along with everyone else. So, you know, as time goes on, that there'll probably be some other tools that will become available, that will become popular, that we'll be learning about. So, you know, just keep an eye and pulse for that and see what else might be coming our way.
Oh, and if I can interrupt for just a minute, Denise, there is actually a chat feature here. It's either going to be in the very bottom of your screen or it's going to be at the very top of your screen, but you can open up that, that chat feature if you have any questions. I'll be monitoring that so that you guys can ask your questions, and also if you have ideas. Like, oh, we use this, yes, and it works really well.
Yes.
So, yeah. And because everybody here has access to look at the chats. So it's a way for us to sort of have these little sidebar conversations while the presentation is going on.
So, and then we try to multitask and monitor the chats and talk at the same time, which is why it's helpful for us to have two of us doing our presentations. Train your team on using the technology. I've already heard many stories about people that are forgetting to turn off their camera on, and then, you know, they're walking up and down their hallway, or talking to a family member when they forget to mute themselves, or the dog's barking. So one of the things that we do often is sharing a screen during a Zoom call. So that's exactly what we're doing now. We're sharing Laura's screen. She's operating it from where she is, and I'm talking from where I am. But you can share your screen. One of the things too that I've noticed recently is I have learned to turn off my my Outlook, so that if I'm sharing my screen, that everybody's not seeing these emails that are coming up that I'm being alerted to. So a lot of little tips along those lines that you'll hear more about. So using Loom, I have to say, it's so frightening. We've got Zoom and Loom, but Loom is a very valuable tool that Laura and I just first learned about just a few days before all of this happened. Loom gives you an opportunity to record a short video. We had one recently where a consultant that is supporting us, we needed to have a quick little training session. And so our consultant got online and just basically recorded herself with a, I don't know, less than 10-minute, you know, this is how you do this, go here, do this, do that. But it's very easy. So it can be used as training. It can also be used as just a greeting that, you know, you can record yourself, like, hi team, what's going on? How are you guys doing? This is what I'm doing. And you can almost consider it's like a visual voicemail greeting kind of thing that you can do too. So check into that. And the other thing is that Loom is providing their services, I think at no charge, or
yeah, their free version. They're like beefing up the free version of Loom through July 1st of this year, providing people with unlimited videos. Before, I think for the paid version, it's like, I don't know, $5 or $10 a month per user. But for right now, they're making it free, and you can have unlimited number of videos.
And speaking of free, I did want to mention that there is a free option.
Oh, Denise, I think I'm not sure if it's her or me. Can anybody else
Zoom
unmute?
As well.
There we go.
So is this better?
Yeah, you kind of, your internet must be unstable.
Yeah, every now and then I get this message a couple seconds after I freeze. I get a message that says it's unstable. So, but what I was saying is that with Zoom, they also have a free version available.
Yeah, Zoom does have a free version.
Did I lose you again?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess
Should we
you'll have
just,
to take over.
okay. All right, well, I'll do the next couple slides and see how you're doing with
Okay.
your connection. So, so number 7 is have regular meetings, almost like you do at the office, right? One suggestion that I read about when I did my research is to have a group kickoff meeting every morning, you know, just like a 10 or 15-minute little thing. Hey, how's it going? Just a Zoom call just like this. And by the way, Zoom is also free. The free version allows you to have up to 40-minute meetings, but that's certainly enough for a quick little kickoff meeting like this one. You also want to meet one-on-one with each team member at least weekly. Depending on how big your workforce is, you know, just have that one-on-one, check in, see how things are going. And also encourage your team members to meet with each other and with your clients, because we don't want to forget our clients and our customers. Chances are that if we have the ability to work at home, that we probably also have some clients that could use our touchstone as well. Any feedback or questions about number 7? Has anybody been doing anything that's been working really well? All right, I'm going to keep asking that question. So number 6, now here's a good one. Update your remote worker policy. We know that as this whole thing continues to kind of blow up in the world, that we're going to have some more updates from our government, some more restrictions, some more requirements. So we want to keep our policy up to date. We also want to remind everybody how to access the policy, right? So hopefully you're storing it on the cloud somewhere. You've got Google Drive. OneDrive is actually the Microsoft version of the cloud. So you need to have some kind of license for that. And I'm sure there are lots of others. Dropbox is one of them. So just remind everybody how to access it. Encourage questions. Let everybody know that you are available to ask questions, especially about the remote work policy. And then let everybody know that the policy may need to be flexible to respond to new government guidelines. I'm not quite sure how much more socially distant we can all be right now, but you just never know what's coming down the pike, right? Number 5 is have purposeful conversations with your team. When you're meeting one-on-one with them, ask them, how can I support you? What do you need help with to be successful right now? And is there anything that you're struggling with? Because right now, there might be things people are struggling with. You know, times like this, and I was reading a post on Facebook from a friend, kind of an acquaintance of mine, and this individual is really struggling right now, and she's being really open about it on Facebook, which is great, because I think it's sparking some discussion about this. But we have had so much change so fast, and it has been so drastic in such a short period of time, that there are a lot of folks that are grieving right now for this loss of how life was a week ago. So I think we just need to be open about that and honest about it, so that we can help our teams. Anything further on that, Denise?
No, I think that's great.
Okay. Oops. Number 4, establish routine and structure. We're going to talk a lot about the new normal, right? We're going to talk about having regular meetings, but having this be the new normal. Before this call got started, we talked about how different video calls are, or how different working at home is now compared to a couple of weeks ago. You know, a couple of weeks ago, if I was working at home, I would just get out of bed, throw on a bathrobe, and put my hair up in a ponytail and eat my breakfast in front of the computer while I was doing my work. but now we've got more video calls happening. I have to get out of bed and get presentable and keep my lipstick on my desk and all of that stuff so that I can be ready for these face-to-face meetings in my bedroom. It's kind of weird. We also need to keep our team reminded that they need a regular schedule and that they need lunch and rest periods. It's kind of, I think, a common thing when you're working at home to just come and dive into the computer and stay there for hours. But we really need to remember to get up, stretch, take our breaks, have good nutrition, get a little exercise in. All of that stuff is really important for our wellness. And also talk with your team about, if there's a dress code, do you need to wear, maybe you guys all decide that wearing your bathrobes is going to be this new dress code for the duration of this time. And that's okay. It's your workplace culture. You and your team get to define that for yourselves. So I welcome you to do that. And it looks like we have some chats going on.
Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to interject with that, Laura, and this is actually your story, but everyone is at home, and Laura has a family of 4, and they've all had to, take turns, so to speak, on when they can be on her daughter in her college class, or her husband who's trying to run his business too, that you bump into each other with using too much bandwidth. So, maybe you need to include that in your schedule with your family members, that, Laura has this time reserved for doing her webinars. And then when she's not doing webinars, then other folks in her family can jump on and do their work routine and new structure.
Right. And I need to work my webinars, how we schedule our webinars, around her college course schedule, because she's taking her college courses via Zoom. And then my son, who is a video game fanatic, has to, schedule his recreational time around what we're all doing. And it's been an interesting kind of, figuring things out, and rules of engagement. Like, okay, I'm here in my office / bedroom, which I share with my husband. Obviously, that's the door to my bedroom right here. That's my husband's closet over there. So he needs to know, okay, I'm in a webinar right now. I need privacy. So I try to let him know a half an hour before the webinar or whatever. But if it's just a regular video call, you might see him walking back and forth behind me. I just have to remind him to keep his pants on. So it's little things like that we just need to think about. Let's see. Celebrating the wins. So if we work every week, if we begin every week with some goals, right? Set weekly and monthly goals, because while we're working at home, we're not just working at home just to work at home, right? We need to attain certain productivity levels and be able to get things done. So as long as we can do that, using the SMART method is always good, and we can do a whole different series of classes on this, but we want those goals to be measurable. Instead of saying like something like, well, we want to provide good customer service, we want to say, oh, well, we're going to provide excellent customer service, and here's how we're going to measure it. Maybe you have a customer satisfaction survey, and it wants to be time bound and realistic and all of that stuff. So, set some goals. And then when the goals are reached, celebrate. Now, how are we going to celebrate with such social distancing? Well, we're gonna have to kind of figure that out, right? So employee recognition is going to be really important during this time. We want to maybe encourage our team to share some ideas about what is going to motivate them during this working from home time, and I think it's going to be for as many people as there are, that's how many different ideas you might get. Some ideas might be to the old-fashioned, handwritten note. to send to their home address, right? We're still allowed to send mail, so that's awesome. Paid time off. You might just give them a couple of extra hours. Hey, take off early on Friday afternoon type of thing, as a way to recognize. It's not inexpensive, not super cheap, but it's inexpensive enough. Another way, even though our restaurants are closed and you can't really go out to dinner in the way that you used to be able to, a lot of restaurants are still selling gift cards right now, so that you could use them either for takeout now or for a fun dine-in experience after all of this is over. So those are just some quick ideas for employee recognition. Now we're kind of getting into the deeper depths of all of this, the psychology of what's happening to all of us right now. And I think we need to be more conscious than usual, because when we have an employee that is distressed, often it's easy to tell when they walk into the office because something's a little different about them. It feels a little bit off. You kind of have some body language that's easy to read. When you work with people every day, it's easy to recognize. And so that part is going to be harder for us. So I really recommend using the video chat. Having the video camera on is going to be important. I think it helps us all stay a little bit more engaged. And to be honest, it helps us all stay a little more honest. When I have the video camera on me, I'm going to be less likely to be kind of half listening to this meeting and then half doing my work or surfing the web or answering an email at the same time. So that whole idea of multitasking, there's not really such a thing as multitasking, in my opinion. It's just, when I'm multitasking, I'm distracted, really, is what it is. For me, that's just me. So make sure your webcams are on, and you also want to make sure that everybody gets their own airtime. Give everybody an opportunity to speak. Pay attention to any cues that you might get from either their language or from what you can see on their facial expression or their tone. Chat with folks. So hopefully that is helpful to you. And be understanding about families and roommates. Like I just talked about my, sharing my space with my husband. Of course, this is his bedroom too, right? So I can't forbid him from coming into it, and his office is in the dining room. He can't forbid me from going in there either. Our kids get their own rooms. I don't know. That seems wildly unfair. But anyway, the number one tip that we have is support your team. And I think we had a slide similar to this on our webinars that we gave last week. But really, during this time especially, we should be operating from a place of kindness and compassion, remembering that everybody is going through a tough time like this. And that working at home, while we are very, very grateful to still be able to work right now during a time when so many people have been laid off or furloughed, still there are some challenges that come along with that while folks are kind of taking care of their families and struggling maybe with some financial challenges and that kind of thing. So just be available for your team. Do your best, because we're not going to have all the answers right now. None of us are. There's just no way. We can just do our best to navigate with the information that we have at the time, understanding that we might have to pivot later. We want to stay connected and engaged. So just like we're doing right now, maybe connecting with other business folks, maybe outside of your company, having chats. This is our chance to really get engaged with each other, inside and outside of your company. And our final words of advice: number one, follow your own rules, right? And be consistent in managing your benefits and your work arrangements. So, do what you say you're going to do. When you make a rule, you need to follow it too, because you're going to be your team's, influencer and role model. And you want to be fair to everybody. So you don't want somebody to say, oh, well, that person got more hours than I did. Then that's why it's important to kind of stay in tune and so that you can address those concerns as they come in. And then you want to be supportive to your employees and understand that they have their family needs. So maybe they'll ask for, a temporary part-time assignment or hours, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you are going to need to ask them to accept part-time hours. Maybe they're going to need to apply for unemployment to kind of make up the difference between what they were making before and what they're making now. So you can be creative with all of that stuff. And this is your chance to build a legacy beyond the business. Denise, what's that quote where what we do now is going to help us retain and recruit later? What is that?
Yeah. Basically, I don't know the exact quote, but we've talked a lot in our previous webinars before too, that this is your opportunity to really step up and excel as a leader. And the way that you treat your employees now is really going to drive who you are known to be as an employer. So for retaining your employees, for recruiting new employees, everybody's going to be talking about their experiences with this. So if your employees can share their positive experience about how they were supported during this time, is going to go very far versus another employer who maybe they're harsh to their people, or maybe they're not communicating. Communicating is one of the biggest things that we've talked about. So this really is a time to go beyond on the business. This isn't about you, or this isn't about your business. This is about all of us, and as individuals, as employees, and as members of our community. This is a great opportunity to come together and be the hero in whatever way that you're able to do that.
Exactly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some resources beyond this. Federal, state, and local websites and social media. I know that the city of Lakeport, I visited their website. They have some great resources on COVID-19 and everything. And I noticed that the city of Lakeport's police department just initiated a new online reporting system for if you see something that needs to be reported to the police department that maybe is not an emergency, that they have this new way that you can do that. And I'm sure the city of Clear Lake is on top of it too. And I know that the public health department at the county of Lake also has some great resources. The small business centers, or otherwise known as the SBA, they're going to have some resources on maybe getting some financial support in the forms, especially of low interest loans and that sort of thing. The Employment Development Department, the EDD, is going to have information on, they have some great resources on how to manage your workforce during this time. Yeah.
Can I just interject something? One
of
the
course.
things that occurred to me that Laura and I talked about yesterday, when your employees are filing for unemployment, I would imagine the process is going to be the same as far as how that claim is filed, which means that you're going to be receiving a letter in the mail that you need to respond to with regard to, the dates and whatever all the details are for the claim. So keep that in mind, because you may need to have an essential need to go to your office to collect your mail.
That is a very good point. In fact, I'm going to collect our mail right after this for that very reason. So yeah, thank you, Denise. Also, we have just started a new Facebook group called Lake and Mendocino County's Business Owner and Leader Forum. This is a Facebook group that you're going to have to request to be included. And I think it's a great way for us to just have a place where we can just sort of talk with each other. openly, cones of safety around us so that there's no such thing as a dumb question, right? So that's a resource for all of us. And also our state Chamber of Commerce, the Cal Chamber has some great resources for managing our human and probably most important resources that our businesses have. So talking about Combs Consulting Group, our why, and this is actually our mission statement, because we partner with employers to provide human resources management, business education, and leadership coaching services to attract and retain a skilled and engaged workforce. And we have a skilled workforce in our county, and we are broadcasting this from Lake County, knowing, however, that we also serve Mendocino County, and we are also expanding our services to Napa and Sonoma counties as well. So that is our mission, that is our passion, to bring these services to businesses. So we're here for you. Denise and I are the executive consultants at Combs Consulting Group, but we have 2 other consultants on our team too, and all 4 of us stay current in our field. So we specialize in human resources management and workplace safety, and we adhere to both federal and state guidelines. We are also in very close contact with local government leaders, such as the City of Lakeport, the City of Clear Lake, the county, the police departments. So we kind of have our finger on the pulse of what's happening in real time. And we are also continuing these webinars and providing updated information on our Facebook page. So you can find the Combs Consulting Group Facebook page at Combs Consulting on Facebook. Go ahead and like us, and then you will receive those regular updates.